So this is a special year. The song Big House is 25 years old this year. It was written and recorded in 1993, and then it was released in 1994. And so in commemoration of that, I decided to make a video and talk about the creation of the song and how to play the song on guitar. Not so much the lyrics, because I didn't really have a big part in that. The lyrics were written really by Mark and some by Will. So my job in that song was to create the guitar parts that supported that. And every song kind of has an interesting story about how it comes together. And so I wanted to talk about the creation of Big House. The first time I remember hearing about Big House was on the tour bus. And Mark and Will had been on a trip to Haiti, I believe. And that had given them some inspiration for the song. And I remember them saying, we got a new idea for a song called Big House. That's really all I remember. Nothing else happened that day. Ideas just kind of come to you all the time as a writer. And you just sort of set them to memory somehow, record them or something, or just keep them in the back of your mind until it's time to make a new record. And then you pull those out and start to put it all together. And so that several months passed really before I heard anything else about Big House. And we were in the process of writing and demoing for the new record. And we would get together every day and bring ideas. Sometimes I might start with a guitar idea. Sometimes it might start with a lyric or a vocal melody. Could be any one of the four of us who would kind of come in with something. And so this day was the next time I heard about Big House. And Mark and Will had brainstormed it, and Mark had already really come up with the pre-chorus, the Come and Go With Me to My Father's House, lyric and melody, and he already had the chorus, Big, Big House with Lots and Lots of Room, lyric and melody. And so our job then was to take that and set it to music. And so we figured out, Will had his bass, I had my guitar, Mark was there, and started just kind of playing along with his melody, kind of figured out that the chorus is really just A to E, back and forth. And so starting to build off of that. And I was always looking for something interesting to add to the song that actually added kind of a little bit of melodic content, rather than just strumming chords. And so I started thinking about how I could play this A over E. And most of the time when a song's in A, you either see A played up here like this in the standard position, or you might see it played here. And so something that occurred to me that I just thought was different than anything I had heard at the time. I'm sure it had been done before, but it was new to me in the way that I played, was to play an A chord kind of like a G with these two notes right here, but then move that up to the 5th fret so that these two notes make part of an A chord. And then I took that same shape and moved it up here to the 7th fret and made that an E chord. And so that just sounded different to me, and I was looking for ways to try to stretch myself, try to get out of musical ruts that I was in and come up with new stuff, and just tried to find something new. And so he's singing the chorus to Big Big House, and I'm just kind of playing. And I remember even thinking about the possibility of adding kind of a little chromatic slide to it, like this. And I just kept playing around with different ideas. I kept, Mark's just singing it over and over and over, and I'm trying all different kinds of ways that I can play it. And eventually, I landed on this. And when I started playing that, I remember very clearly that Mark stopped singing, and he was like, wow, that's really cool. We should make that the intro to the song. And so that became the opening part of the song. You hear that guitar riff first, and then the band plays through it, and then it goes into the verse. The chorus is just those two chords over and over and over. I'm going to play it slowly for you. It's just... play it fast. And so that became the chorus, and we were all pretty happy with the direction that was going. Mark was starting to formulate ideas for a verse. I don't know that he had all the melody down yet, but he knew where he wanted it to go lyrically, and we just wanted to come up with a different chord progression for the verse. And so we ended up with A to F sharp minor to D. And so, again, just looking for a different way to play it and trying to make it distinct and different from the chorus, I thought, okay, well, what if I play those three chords up high on the neck in kind of triads in three-note shapes like this? And so I started experimenting with that. And that seemed to be working well. We came up with a drum loop, and we started playing along to a loop and just kind of feeling out how the parts all went. And then I remember thinking, okay, well, maybe if I'm not going to do it on the chorus, maybe here's where I could add the chromatic slide. So I started going. And that became the verse. The pre-chorus is the "Come and Go with Me to My Father's House" part. That really originated more with the bass line. And so it's really A to D, back and forth. And Will came up with the idea of this sort of walking bass line that goes. And I'm just trying to find something to play over that and let that sort of shine a little bit more. I stayed in the same range as the chorus, but just a little less movement. And so the "Come and Go with Me to My Father's House" is just... And so that's the three main parts of the song. It starts with the intro, which is like the chorus, and then it goes into the verse, it goes to the pre-chorus, and then the chorus. At the end of chorus 1, there's a little section, kind of an instrumental section, and it's really kind of a keyboard solo. There's a guitar part that goes underneath it that goes like this, and so it only happens once in the song. And so you've got that. And then just the end of the song. Really, the only other change in the song is what happens at the very end. We're playing through the chorus, and we get to... And then Mark sings, "It's My Father's House," and then the guitar goes. And that's the end of the song. That's Big House. The guitar parts were recorded on a borrowed Fender Stratocaster. And the amp used, I had bought a used PV Classic, and that's what we used to record most of that album. Definitely that was what was used on Big House. And that's actually the amp I'm using right now. And then this guitar I bought shortly after we recorded that album. And so we recorded the demo on a 4-track cassette recorder that was borrowed from Eddie DeGarmo. And we had recorded a few other demos that we were going to have a big meeting and play for our record label. And, I remember this meeting very well. We were kind of nervous because we weren't sure if we were going to get to make a second album or not. And when we played that demo, our record label executives were there, Eddie DeGarmo and Dan Brock, and our producer Steve Griffith was there. And we played all of the songs on this demo. And when Big House came on, I just remember so clearly just the room just lit up with smiles, everyone there. I think they all knew that they had something pretty special there.